Okay, so welcome officially to this masterclass. Today, I'm really thrilled to talk about Facebook ads. Thank you, Danny, so much for taking out time and to doing this with me today. I know you're busy. You just told me before this meeting that you're in the middle of 3 launches with clients, and I know how much, it takes sometimes to switch from meeting to meeting, be full on. So welcome. And yeah, I'm really thrilled to talk about Facebook ads today. But before we dive in, Danny, I would love for you to just briefly say who you are. We did announce you in our promotion and, in our Facebook group, but just briefly so that everyone who joins or who does watch the recording knows who you are.
Yeah, sure. So hi, everybody. My name is Danny. Thanks for the intro, Julia. So I'm a Facebook ad strategist. I've been playing around, as it were, with Facebook ads for about the last 10 years. I have an agency that I run. It's a virtual agency. So everybody is based from home, and we work with people that have information products that they want to sell at a high level. Okay, so they've got knowledge or experience in their life, and they want to impart that to other people to help them in some capacity. And it's a fantastic clientele, a really fantastic niche to work in, and I'm honored to be part of this program. So our clients will have courses, they'll have coaching programs, they will have books, they will have information, knowledge-based information that they've turned into products that they want to sell. And yeah, we've been doing this stuff. The agency's been around for about 5 or 6 years. I'm not very good with timelines, but yeah, we've been doing some good stuff for a while, just helping clients get fantastic results.
Yeah, awesome. And well, we are one of your clients, Magnetised Soul. Kerry and I, we have really experienced you hands-on and guiding us with this process. And I have to admit, when we first started out, I was very skeptical, because both Kerry and I, we are, in German, you say like burned children. I don't know, burned child, if that's a thing in English, but yeah. We had bad experiences. It never worked out for us. So when we said, okay, let's give it another try, maybe the last time, we just felt that it is something that we want to now really seriously give it another try. And it has been amazing. Like, it has been really, really working for us. And I'm so grateful that we found you. Out of all the agencies and out of all the options out there, we felt an immediate connection with you, and really appreciated the way you were leading those strategic sessions and bringing us back on track. We had some ideas floating and here and there. And yes, of course, we have the experience, and then we're able to see where we went wrong or about to go wrong. And so that was really, really good and powerful. And so, yeah, we shared the news in our Facebook group also recently that you have come on as a partner, which is exciting for us, so that we can have these sessions for our clients. And we know that everyone benefits from your knowledge and expertise. So this is really, really good. And yeah, I would just love to start with a little bit of an introduction for the skeptical ones, because just like Kerry and I used to be, I think that most people are just like, they're not trusting anymore in Facebook ads, but you are out there saying, this is the way to go. This is something that everyone should be doing. I mean, everyone, and that's another thing that we're talking about later. But let's talk let's talk about and start with a soft intro, maybe, to Facebook ads.
Yeah, sure. Well, I appreciate skepticism. I hear it quite a lot, because I've had an awful lot of people over the years come to me and said, hey, I'm trying to get these Facebook ads to work and they're just not working, and I don't believe they work. And I hear a lot of noise out there, people saying, yeah, Facebook ads, they will, suck your money down the drain and you'll never get any results and they're a complete waste of time. I can categorically say that's completely not true, because I've built a very successful business. They've changed my life as a result of building that business, and we've helped countless clients to get results. And I think that mindset around, Facebook ads just don't work comes from one of two places. It's either that the person that's trying to do it has not educated themselves enough. It's a bit like saying, if you let me just try and think of an analogy. If you try to bake a really complicated cake, right? You saw it in a cake shop and you thought, I'm going to go home and bake that, but you've never baked before. It's quite likely that the results that you get from that are not going to be what you see in the shop window. And it's because you need to learn how to bake. You need to learn how to layer cakes and put the, you know, I'm not a cake maker, so that's not the best analogy, but I can go into detail. That's kind of how it works, right? You know, so it comes from a place where there's not enough the people haven't educated themselves, or it's where they just haven't had enough patience. They haven't given it time. You know, Facebook ads aren't this kind of magic tool that you just start running and then money starts coming out the other end and makes you rich. It's just simply not like that. You know, you have to go through process.
Maybe they're too hungry, to stay with your analogy.
Yeah,
that's a big problem. Like, they want to eat the cake before it's even ready, right? So
exactly. So I like to, you know, when we onboard clients, and I'm sure that we did this, excuse me, when we first started speaking to you, because I talked to everybody about it, is setting expectations quite clearly. We're going to start doing some really good stuff. It's going to be exciting. There's going to be some bumps in the road, and you just need to stick with it because it will work. But everything you do with Facebook ads is a test. But you asked me for like that kind of brief intro on what they are. So what I love about Facebook ads is that, first of all, you are on the largest social media platform in the world. I think the last figures released by Facebook were that they have 2.9 billion active monthly users. That is, let me just try and do the maths in my head. It's not quite half of the world's population, but it's over a third, right? There's a lot of people on this platform. And that means, you know, if you look at that in just as a statistic in itself, the people that you want to reach are going to be on here. Okay, you know, there's all types of people. You are going to find people that will buy your things. Okay, and it makes the platform very, very powerful. The second thing about I'll say Facebook, but when I'm talking about Facebook, I'm also talking about Instagram. But if I keep saying Facebook and Instagram, it will get quite repetitive and boring. I could say Meta, right, which owns both platforms. But when you're running Facebook ads, you've got access to their algorithm. Now, you don't have direct access to the algorithm. You can't see what it is, but it's what's basically doing all of the real-time machine learning. Yeah. And that algorithm has been around since Facebook started their advertising platform, and I believe that was in around 2007. So where are we now? 2023, 16 years. 16 years worth of millions upon millions of pounds being spent, where this machine learning is continuing to get better at what it does. And, you know, when you set up your Facebook profile as a user, the way that you act on the platform and the way that the places that you visit when you click away from the platform, all of that information is stored, right? That's stored against your profile, and it builds out a profile. It's to give you a better user experience. So Facebook can make sure you're seeing stuff that you like. That keeps you on their platform for longer, and that's a win for them. But also it means that anonymously, that data is available to advertisers. So I don't know if anybody, you know, a specific individual, let's say Anna, who's on here right now, I don't know what Anna does on the platform, but Facebook does. And if Anna is interested in writing a book, and I've got a product that is well geared towards that kind of niche, then Facebook will know that and they will show my ad to Anna, right? That's the kind of way that it works. So they are an incredibly powerful tool. I think the targeting is better than any other platform. I think, you know, there are lots of use cases, which I'm sure that we'll get into, that are going to be really hyper relevant to, you know, the people that are inside of your program. But yeah, for me, I love Facebook ads. You know, there are other platforms that you can advertise on as well. Google, for argument's sake. Now, Google is a slightly different animal in the sense that Google's ads are very much geared towards what people are typing in. So people are searching for stuff actively, and then Google will look at what they're searching for and then serve them ads that are going to match the search. Whereas with Facebook, we're actually doing something slightly different. We're using interests, like what people are interested in, and we're carrying out what we call interruption marketing, where people are scrolling through the feed, and then what we want the ad to do is to capture their attention, and they read it, and then they click to take the next step.
Mm-hmm. You already mentioned the niche that we are focusing on at the moment, and of course, we would love to hear what are the benefits of Facebook ads specifically for authors.
Yeah, of course. So I think, you know, some of the stuff that I've just talked about, just to expand on that, because of the really kind of laser focused targeting that's available to you, it's very, very easy to find the people that are going to be interested in your message. Okay, so authors, quite a broad niche, if I want to use that word. But obviously each individual author will have their own, you know, there's a reason that they're writing their book. Maybe they are a baker that bakes incredible cakes, but maybe they are somebody that has, you know, a really strong message around child welfare, or, you know, how to train your dog, or marketing or business, or whatever it may be. But what you can do as an author is you can find your ideal client very, very easily, and then you can start to serve them with ads. And when I say ads, I want to make something really, really clear. We're not always talking about ads that are going to sell. Okay, the way to think about Facebook ads is just creating content and then paying Facebook to show it to as many people as possible. Okay, so there's a slight distinction. We're not always about selling. Often we can be thinking about, well, how can I increase my visibility to my audience? How can I increase the reach so that more people are hearing my message? Because if you think about how your goal ultimately is usually going to be that you want to sell something at the end of the process, at the end of the day. But in order to do that online, you've got to establish a connection with people, and they've got to build know, like, and trust with you. That's a very overused term in online marketing, but people do need to, before they're going to get their credit card out and buy, they need to feel like they know you a little bit. They need to feel like they like you a little bit, and they need to feel like they can trust you. And when you've got that combination dialed in, people are more likely to then want to buy from you. So you can just share content with people, and increasing visibility and reach is one thing that works for pretty much anybody that wants to advertise. But specifically for authors, I think that you've got a really excellent opportunity for incredibly cost-effective promotion. If you think about what it might cost to, you know, put an ad on the television to promote something, it's incredibly expensive, especially at prime time. You can get cheap deals if you want to go on the channels that nobody watches, but what would be the point? With Facebook, you've got an incredible, sort of, should I say, opportunity to get in front of a very targeted audience for not an incredibly high cost. So you can build this brand awareness and credibility, but you can use the platform to launch your book. You can use the platform to drive traffic to you know, your sales page and generate sales of your book. You could use it to build a wait list for your book and kind of build the hype. There are so many different things you can do. You can think about, you know, what do you want to use your book for? Are you looking at your book and thinking, I want this to be a credible source of recurring income through book sales? Or are you using your book as a way to get your message in front of people, but then using that book as a stepping stone to bigger things? You might have, you know, coaching programs that you want people to buy, and your book is really more of a lead magnet. I can explain what that is if I need to, Julia. But it's like, you know, a stepping stone towards something else. So there's an incredible opportunity for authors with Facebook ads.
Yeah, I mean, you just nailed it, because that's exactly how and what we teach our clients inside Seduce with Words, and overall in all our programs. We do reverse engineer the funnel and how everything builds and leads into someone's offers. So we are using the term legacy lead magnet for the books that our clients are writing with us. And that is because, of course, when you write a book, it's out there forever, right? And it's building your authority, it's building your celebrity, your credibility. And then still, we never would say or teach anyone or promise anyone that the books is going to pay their rent. And that's why we say it needs to have a purpose to lead into the high ticket offers. I mean, course, program, whatever you are creating. And so with this knowledge now that, you know, that's how we do it here, where would you suggest, in which stage are Facebook ads? I mean, I guess they can come in all the stages, right? You could have ads, or I'll let you answer, but what would you recommend if someone now of our client circle would come to you? What would you say?
So if the book is, you know, one of the phrases I use is a foot in the door. It's a way of getting yourself in front of people, you know, building that credibility, building that authority and celebrity, and then elevating the reader to, you know, pointing them towards other offers, then I would probably approach this. And again, this is just a suggestion and everything would need to be tested. But what I would probably do is I would start by just creating some really valuable content that positions you as an authority. And that just might be, you know, a couple of videos that demonstrate your expertise. Maybe you can give away some nuggets of wisdom to people that kind of, if you solve a big problem for people, maybe solve a really small part of that problem for them, just to build that credibility. So just share content. It could be videos, it could be blog posts, it could just be actual posts on social media. And what that would do is it would start to build an audience for you, build brand awareness, and you don't need to spend a huge amount of money doing that. And then what I would do is I would create a really simple funnel, which is an online customer journey. And my funnel would be to promote the book and it depends again what format the book is in. If it's an ebook, then obviously people can get it for free and download it. If it's a physical book, then maybe you could give away that book for free plus shipping, and they pay for the cost of shipping. You know, there's a lot of different ways to do it, but just offer people the opportunity to get their hands on that content. And then once they've got that, everybody, you can then run what we call a retargeting campaign. So everybody that either downloads or gets a copy of the book, you can then retarget them with more ads that say, hey, I hope you like the book. By the way, I've got some other stuff that I want to share with you, and then just kind of progress the journey, continue to build the authority and the positioning and the know, like, and trust. And then at some point you want to make them an offer. And it might depend what your offer is. If you've got something that is what we call relatively low tickets and not incredibly expensive, sub $1,000, you can start making that offer quite soon after they've downloaded your book. If it's something that's a bit higher ticket, maybe, you know, a couple of $1,000 plus, then you might want to nurture those leads a little bit more to build that positioning before you make the offer. You've got to kind of find a balance. And then, of course, behind the scenes, aside, you know, stepping back from the Facebook ads, you'd want to have emails that are going out to people that have downloaded or bought your book or whatever, so that you're nurturing them with email, and you're also nurturing them with ads so that they can see you in the feed on Facebook and on Instagram.
Yeah, and I don't know, I'm sure you remember, it hasn't been that long, but when we started out, our first idea was, Kerry and my idea was to actually directly sell like into our programs. I can't remember which one at that point. I guess it was the book program. And then we took your advice and switched over to a different strategy, just the one that you just described. And we used the ads to actually help us with our lead gen and fill our Facebook group, which has worked incredibly well, because now they are in our Facebook group. That's where we built know, like, and trust for them. We deliver everything that you just said and described, high quality content. We show up, you know, we go live, and that's how then it is so much easier to make an offer, right? So yeah, I like this idea of, you know, moving or switching over, and not only thinking Facebook ads are only working if they then immediately translate into a sale.
Yeah.
Which in our case, I could never say, okay, this person is actually coming because of the Facebook ad into our, well, essentially, yes, because we can track it back, right? Whoever joined the Facebook group thanks to the ads, yes. So yeah, that's a really great way of doing so. And a lot of our clients are like we were last year in the beginning of the business, or have pivoted in their business. So they are more benefiting from the building and the reach thanks to Facebook ads. And then yeah, once the audience has become bigger, then you can always say, okay, now the retargeting ad campaign, that's something we also would want to then pursue in the future. And can you maybe talk a little bit about this limiting belief that most people have, that Facebook ads are only for big businesses?
Yeah, of course.
I feel like this is one of the biggest objections when you talk to people.
Yeah, and it's really not the case at all. We have clients that work with us that do spend thousands of dollars a month. Some are spending hundreds of dollars, sometimes actually thousands of dollars a day. But that's not essential, and that's something that you might want to consider doing years down the line when you become incredibly successful, and you can see you've kind of been through the machine a couple of times. You can see the power of it, and your business is growing, and you're ready to reinvest. That's where those kinds of people are. They're successful, and they're reinvesting. But we have other clients that are spending 10 pounds or $10 a day on their ads. The beauty of Facebook ads is that they are designed to suit all budgets, so it's not an expensive platform to advertise on. I would say that if I go right back to what I was talking about at the very beginning, where some people have a bit of a lack of education or a lack of patience, maybe a third part of that is that they just don't have they're not prepared to invest in testing. Because when you run Facebook ads, you are testing. Even the people that we work with that are spending big money, daily or weekly, whatever that might be, we are still testing when we're running their ads and looking for opportunities to tweak and optimize. Clearly, when you're spending that level of money, you've got something that's working, something that's converting. But at that point, you're still testing, because you need to try and look for, those little small percentage differences that are going to move the needle when it comes to what drops out of the back end, which is sales. But when you get started with ads, you are testing, and you need to be prepared for that. You need to be prepared to have a budget. So, but that you can start with £10 a day. I think the mindset, and we always encourage a really positive mindset around Facebook ads, because anyone can run them. You don't have to be a big business. You don't have to have a fancy website. You don't have to work with an agency like mine. If you want to teach yourself how to do this, that's absolutely possible. But you have to be prepared. You have to go into it with the right mindset and understand that at the beginning, you might spend a bit of money on ads and not quite get the results that you want. And then that leads me into a kind of different thread of conversation, which is understanding the data that's made available to you. But maybe we will or won't talk about it. I'm not going to go into that into too much detail now. But if, like I said previously as well, compared with traditional advertising, I don't even know what the costs are of running an ad on the TV or on the radio or in print. Those are the traditional mediums that people were, leveraging, especially in the last century, which sounds crazy to say that, but it was last century. Now we have social media, and you've got access to platforms like Facebook, which are just so much more cost effective.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, I come from a background, I'm a certified PR consultant, and I used to, pay journalists so that they print my clients' product placement and would call it an article. And so and the budget and the money that was thrown at those magazines or radio stations, TV stations is insane when I think about it now. And then the effect, because yes, I mean, then it's just in this one magazine and it's gone, right? Once it's out, it's out. But yeah, that's the beauty of having something online, and being able to adjust it and, showing it to so many people out there. So you really get something back, even maybe not immediately, but further down the line, they are paying off and paying themselves off, right? So is that something like, is this the most common fear that you see and that you hear from entrepreneurs when they come to you and they say, I'm not quite sure if it's for me, if they're really working, and I don't know if I get something back from the money that I'm throwing in? Is that?
Yeah, there is definitely that. I guess one of the questions that I get asked most when, let's say that someone wants to jump on a complimentary discovery call with me and we're just going to find out a bit about each other's businesses, see if it feels like a good fit. If it gets to the point where they're kind of feeling quite warm and fuzzy, and I'm feeling quite warm and fuzzy, and we think we can do stuff together, then they start thinking, okay, so if we did this, when am I likely to see a return on the investment that I'm making? And a lot of people might think that when, like I said earlier, when you start running ads, money's just going to fall out of the other end, and it's like an online ATM, and it's an easy way to get rich. It's not at all. And the answer to the question of when will I see a return is, it depends. It depends on like almost an infinite number of factors, because you can run ads to do so many different things. I've mentioned a few of the use cases, brand awareness, lead generation, sales, you can run ads to get engagement on content if you want. You can run ads to drive traffic to blog posts and different websites. There's so many things you can do. So what you have to have is a strategy. You've got to understand before you press the button that says publish, which means your ads are going to go live, what do I want to achieve with these ads? That's the first thing. When I first started to play around with Facebook ads, and I did not know what I was doing, I did a course, I had a little business idea, and I thought, okay, I'm going to run some ads. And I started to spend some money. And after about a week, I realized that I didn't really know what I was doing. I was like, why am I running these ads? I haven't actually figured out what the strategy is here. That was just a rookie beginner's mistake. And I learned from that pretty quickly. And you know that I talk about strategy a lot. It's like fundamental to making sure that, strategy means, what are we promoting? Who are we promoting it to? What do we want to achieve? What are the goals? What are the budgets? All of those kinds of things. And then when you've got that mapped out, then you can start to work back and figure out, okay, how are we going to get to that point? It's really, really important. But there are, sorry.
You do work, or all the questions that you asked us when we came to you were essentially what we would ask our clients when they start working with us and we start coaching them. Then you ask questions. Who is your ideal client? Like, what is the problem you want to solve, right? And all this basic all the basic knowledge about yourself, your business, that needs to be really, really crystal clear. And so again, like putting it into the context of our clients' situation at the moment, or when they go through the book program, it's perfect what you just said. There's no point in writing a book if you don't know your offer. So the way we are designing the book program is also that we first have a strategy session where we unpack an offer, and then that leads what the book is going to be about. Otherwise, why do you write a book and then think that the book will sell into your program? And so the ads are doing the same thing. If you don't know what the ad says, like what's it going to solve? Like, you need to have your funnel completely mapped out. So if someone is now sitting here thinking, okay, I want the book to drive traffic, use as a lead magnet, just the way we're teaching them. What do I need to have in place to actually make successful ads so that the book is the lead magnet for their program? Like, if you start designing that process. Yeah,
great question. So there are a number of things that you're going to want to have in place. You will need to have a Facebook business page set up, because that will be linked to your ad account, and it will be that business page. I call this representing your ads in the feed. So when you see an ad from somebody on Facebook or Instagram, it's linked. Well, on Instagram, it can also be linked to their Instagram profile, their business profile. But yeah, you will need a business page. You'll need an ad account. And ideally, you'll want to have a business manager account set up, which is just a place where you can put all of your business assets, assign permissions so that people that you may or may not be able to access them, and it gets all of your business stuff organized in one place. But then you're also going to need, like you mentioned, your funnel pages. You're going to need you've got to understand the journey, and then you've got to make sure you've got the infrastructure that's going to enable and facilitate that journey. So if it's a lead magnet, you might want to have, the Facebook part set up, which I've just been through, but then you're going to want to have maybe a landing page and a thank you page at the very minimum, so that people can opt in for your lead magnet. And then you're going to want those funnel pages automatically linked to your email software, so that you can deliver, let's say it's a digital download of your book, like I referred to previously. So you need to be able to deliver that. And you want to have that automated, of course, so that your ads can run 24/7, and as soon as people engage with the ad and fill out the opt-in, then your book gets delivered to them. And then what you want as well with your emails is ideally you'd want a nurture sequence that follows the delivery. So if someone opts in for your book now, they click on an ad and they type their name and email address in, then they get the book immediately. But then tomorrow they should get another email that kind of introduces a bit more about you, might tell a little backstory, or whatever it might be, it depends how you want to structure your nurture sequence. The next day you might want to, talk about how you've helped somebody with something, but you want to use your emails to kind of build a relationship. As what you don't want to do is just deliver the lead magnet and then not contact them again, because that's a very big opportunity that you've missed.
Yeah. And I think that was one of the epiphany moments for us, that we said, okay, now we're really committed to going all in. Facebook ad, it's going to be for us. But then we realized the importance of good copy and like email marketing and everything set. Like if you're really honest, if you haven't set up a MailChimp account or you don't have an email list, and that's the first thing you need to be doing before you run ads, because otherwise, like you just said, you're spending money on Facebook ads and lose out and miss out on the opportunity to actually nurture them. And I think it's a great point to notice. Like, yes, everyone can run ads, but then if you do have the intention to then monetize them as fast as possible, maybe that should be an initial step beforehand. So really set up your email marketing system, have someone copyright for you maybe that first email sequence, so that you at least have like a welcome sequence or like a nurture sequence set in place. And then plus also, like, what would you say if someone comes and says, do I need to hire a copywriter to actually create the ads? Because the ad copy is as important as the visual or then the download and the lead magnet itself, right?
It really is. I think, for me, there are three really, really essential pieces of an ad campaign that you have to get right. The first one is your audience. So you talked about ideal client. You have to understand your ideal client, because then once you understand that and you know who they are, once you start to get into setting up your ads, you'll get to an audience section and you'll be able to then kind of go through the options available and find where your people are going to be hanging out. So if you're not putting your ad in front of the right audience, it's unlikely that it's going to convert very well. That's the first thing. The second thing is the image, or the creative, as we call it in our world, which is the image or the video, but it's the visual part of the ad. I mentioned that Facebook ads are interruption marketing. So think about people scrolling through their feed and they're looking for cat videos and what did their friends have for dinner, and that, pictures of people's holiday snaps. You need an image that's striking, and what we call it pops out on the feed, so that people see it and go, oh, what's that? It's got my attention. But then to answer your question about copy, you do need copy that is compelling. You do need copy that is crafted in a certain way that's going to drive the reader to take the next course of action, which is usually, let's talk about using a book as a lead magnet. The copy is going to position the book and it's going to say, hey, if you want this, just click this button and then I'll tell you how to get it, right? So that's the call to action. Do you need a copywriter to write that? No, not all of the time. I mean, if you've managed to write a book, my guess is that you kind of have got something in you that helps you to write. But it doesn't mean you can write good ad, because good ad copy, for me, it follows a kind of structure. There's a pattern, not a pattern, but there is a structure to it that works really well. And we make that. We have guides that we give our clients if they want to write their own copy, that say, hey, this is how you want to structure your copy. Here's an example of an ad, kind of mirror that, but with your own offer and your own wording. Another great resource that we use a lot for clients that don't want to engage copywriters is ChatGPT. ChatGPT is an incredible tool. You can tell ChatGPT, that you want to write a Facebook ad, and you can tell I'm going to call it the tool. You can tell the tool. I don't know why I'm struggling to say it. I talk about ChatGPT all of the time, but you can tell it that you want it to write as a Facebook ads copywriter, and then you can tell it what you want to write the ad about. You can tell it what your book's about, and then you can say that the idea is that you want people to download the book free as a lead magnet, and it will come up with some copy. Now, it's not going to be perfect, but it will give you a starting point and a framework that you can work from. That to be said, and I want to be really clear here, that does not devalue what copywriters do. I know lots of copywriters. I have copywriters in my team. And if you want really, really hot, compelling copy quickly, and it doesn't have to be extortionately expensive either, then I would consider engaging a copywriter having a discovery call with them, letting them understand your tonality, your brand voice, what it is that you want to promote, and then letting them do it. Because we've got stuff from ChatGPT and it's worked okay. I do think that the best stuff that we get comes from copywriters, because they just have that next level of intuition.
Yeah, I mean,
intuition. Thank you.
The human touch, you can't, like with the chatbot or IE. I still am very hopeful that they will never replace human, us humans completely. But yes, I do agree, and we've tried it too and used it before, also for social media content and blog posts and stuff. So it is a little bit of a jumping start, or some sort of support. But yeah, so that's also very interesting that you already, you have the comparison and the background knowledge, that it doesn't really replace a copywriter. Anna, who's on this call, will be pleased to hear she's a copywriter.
Yeah, no, there is a lot, there's a lot that copywriters will be able to do that ChatGPT. The thing is, what I say, because I do kind of train and talk about ChatGPT and AI quite a lot, and one of the things I say is that because of ChatGPT's popularity, the online world is going to be flooded with content where lazy marketers just use ChatGPT to churn stuff out and then they put it up. But what you're going to see quite quickly, if you were to start, consuming some of this content, is you'd be able to look at it and go, I can tell that ChatGPT wrote that. Right? We have a way that we help our clients, and also internally in our agency. I often struggle with the creative side of things, which is a bit weird as an agency owner. But what I mean is that sometimes I can think, okay, today I want to send an email out to my list and I want to talk about a specific subject, and then I'll sit, I'll get the screen up ready to type, and I'll be like, where do I start? So, I love to use the tool for inspiration. But another tip as well, just while we're talking about AI quickly, is for the visual side of your ad, if you're going to use a still image, there are some incredible AI tools out there like Midjourney that can make amazing images. The image, remember, has got to capture people's attention, and Midjourney, again, it needs prompting and you've got to give it the right ingredients, but it can come up with some amazing stuff that works really, really well.
Okay, see, I haven't heard, no, something learned. Good. Okay,
you go.
I do remember, like, that's been, I don't know, at least 5 years ago, I saw someone on Facebook also talking about this guy was promoting online courses. I can't remember exactly what he was doing, but I remember that he was sharing one of his best results in ads when he did not use any polished images or nothing like too fancy, and him on the couch with his cat or dog and he like unshaved and like something like that, a selfie, and really, I don't know if it was blurry, but it looked bad quality, and he said it got the best results, like so many clicks, conversions. Do you feel like sometimes that is a good strategy, especially now when you think, you're the author of a book and you want them to download my book? You want to be as human and personal as possible. So why not then stand out and not, dress up for the picture, but be in your pajamas or something like that?
Absolutely. When you're running ads, one of the recommendations that a lot of ads or a lot of kind of, ads managers and agencies will make is, trying to make your ads not look like ads. Right? Just try and make them look natural in the feed. There are arguments for and against that. If you think about the fact that you need to stop people scrolling, then there needs to be something a little bit striking in that image. But the bottom line, the answer to the question is you have to test things.
Yeah.
And I love working with clients who are willing to push the boundaries a little. So a lot of clients will come to us and say, I'm very precious about my brand. I want my brand to be very strongly represented. I want to use specific color schemes. And we're like, okay, I know, and it's quite a difficult conversation sometimes, but I have to say, look, I know you care about that. But what we have to think about is, what do the people that we're trying to reach care about? Because they don't care about your logo. They don't care about your color schemes. They care about what you've got to offer them and how you can help them. And we need to build a connection with those people. And sometimes it might be just as simple as, a really kind of rough looking photo of you on the sofa, unshaven, with your cat on your lap. That could work. You just have to test this stuff and see. And sometimes you're really surprised. A lot of the time we've worked with clients and they've said, this is the path I want to go down with my visuals. And we try it and it doesn't work really well. And we come up with some suggestions. We just brainstorm together. And sometimes the most random things can work.
Yeah. I mean, I think that is one of the questions that came up when I shared with the client circle that we're doing this masterclass. One of our clients, she said, I would love to run ads, but I have no idea, what to even write or put in these ads. Even though, like, with, of course, now hearing everything that you've just said, there must be now more clarity around this. But coming up with a post, because it's essentially as if you were writing a social media post. Like, it is just a caption that you're writing, and then that leads to a call to action. But people, I think, also in your head, you go, oh, this needs to do something more than just a social media post. But essentially, every day when you go out and share content with your audience, you have an intention, and you want them to do something. You're not just like posting for the sake of posting, even though many people do. But ideally, you should always have an intention. And just because now you're putting money in it, people freak out, and then they're like brain freeze and say, I don't know what to write about. Like, I don't know what to do, and what should the ads say? But you answered this already, by testing and playing around, do a lot of, like, I loved what we did with you over Christmas holidays when we did the rapid fire testing. Is that how you say it?
That's right. Yeah.
Exactly, because that gave us, maybe you explain this real quick so that people can understand that you can actually play around a little bit before you go all in.
Yeah, absolutely. So just to kind of step back to the previous point that you made, what should my ad, what is the content? Well, what I've found works really well. Okay, so if you're creating content organically, right, you're not paying to get it promoted, you're just creating content, but there is an intention behind it normally, and really you want people to feel something, like, so that they can connect with you. You need to kind of spark some kind of emotive response in some capacity. So some people do that by telling stories of being vulnerable, right? Kind of opening up a little bit more about what they're really like as an individual, maybe going behind the scenes or whatever, showing the real side of the person behind the avatar. Other people might choose to tell stories about how they've helped people, with their business. Other people might choose to create content that demonstrates their expertise and kind of makes them credible. And really, you want to make a blend of all of those things so that people can connect with you on these different emotional levels. Like, the know and like part will probably come more from the behind the scenes kind of vulnerable side of things, where the trust part, if you're thinking about it from a business perspective, might come from seeing case studies or seeing you talk about how you've helped people or demonstrating your expertise, right? So when it comes to running ad campaigns, what should the content be? Well, it comes back to what I mentioned earlier, which is like the strategy. You've got to understand what the goal is, what the purpose of the advertising campaign is going to be. And then you create content that's going to kind of help you to achieve that. But the other thing is that if you've got content that you've created organically and it's got a really good response, if it's got lots of engagement, people have been sharing it, then there you go. That tells you that piece of content is valuable in some capacity. Use it. Because all you're doing with ads is saying to Facebook, here's a piece of content, I'm going to pay you just to show it to loads more people. And maybe I'll get... That's in essence, if I want to really kind of boil it down. So rapid fire testing, to move on to that point, this is a strategy that we really love doing with clients. So a lot of clients will come to us and they might not have a lead magnet, or they might have ideas about a lead magnet. And the problem that they've got is that, let's say that a client comes to us and they say, right, I've got 4 different lead magnets that I think would work really, really well.
I think we had 3.
Yeah, let's say 3. Okay, let's say 3. So the worst thing that you could probably do is think, right, okay, so I've got a video series, I've got an ebook, and I've got a checklist, right? They might be the 3 different ideas. So the worst thing you could do is spend loads of time creating a funnel for each one, building that, and then trying to test them individually. So we don't do that. We do rapid fire testing instead. And what we do in essence is we understand, we glean an understanding of those concepts, those lead magnet concepts from the client. And then we just start running ads that promote those different lead magnet concepts. So we write a piece of copy, we have an image for each different concept, and we run them all to the same audience for a really short window of time, 2, 3, 4 days. And all we're doing is we're testing them to see which one gets the most opt-ins. Okay. And whichever one gets the most opt-ins after 3 or 4 days, we then stop the ads and go back to the client and say, your checklist, by far the clear winner. It got 100 opt-ins and the others got 5 each. And then all the client needs to do is just to go back to everybody that opted in for it, because we capture the leads, right? And they go back to everybody and they say, hey, so sorry, there was a technical problem. We know you didn't get what you asked for, so here it is. And at that point, they would create that checklist and then send it out to those people, put those people onto their email list and start nurturing them with emails. So it's a kind of way of fast tracking your way through the validation process for lead magnets. And you can do it for a number of different things. Lead magnets are a great concept, but you can also do it for other offers. You can do it for testing concepts. There's lots and lots of testing strategies that you can put into place with ads on Facebook.
I loved it, and I saw the benefit of using that strategy, and that is actually answered almost my final question around how does organic content marketing compare to Facebook ads. You said that already, but maybe just as a final wrap up, because we're hitting almost the hour, and I'm sure we're going to do it again, because you can talk hours and days about Facebook ads. But if you can, just one last piece of advice for anyone who's still on the fence, even hearing now what you've just said, and if they say, I'm too new in the business, I still don't feel comfortable, or I think I want to wait until I monetize the offer that I created, and until the book is really now leading and I have a little bit of more traffic going on, what would be your piece of advice to someone who is feeling that way?
Yeah, I think, let's be realistic. I would never try and persuade or convince somebody that they should run Facebook ads before I think they're ready to run Facebook ads. I don't, there are a number of things that you're going to want to have in place to determine whether or not you are ready. And, the first thing is the offer. Your people are going to have that because they're going through the process of getting this book written. The second thing you're going to need is a growth mindset, and kind of the mental preparation to, because there are going to be some mental blocks that will come up. Some of those mental blocks can be things like budget. So you do need a budget, and I'll come back to that in a second. But other people sometimes get a bit concerned about negative feedback. Do I want to put myself out there to this extent? I know I'm going to get a lot of exposure. A lot of people are going to see me, and they might have some kind of little gremlins inside that are gnawing away at them, saying, "Oh no, that's a bad idea." Now, look, you can get negative feedback on ads. It happens. I get it. A lot of our clients get it, because there are people out there that have nothing better to do than just to troll, right? Yeah. But the simple answer to that is just either ignore or just delete, block, and move on. It's going to happen. Just have a little bit of a thick skin about it, and push forward. But budget. Absolutely, you need a budget, and you can start, as I mentioned earlier, with a small budget. Kind of, you could even stretch down to £5 a day. That would be my absolute bare minimum. I'd normally try, and if I was going to do any persuading at all, it would be, let's try and get to 10. And the reason, if you get to £10 or $10 a day, is that you're just going to get your data back more quickly. Because when you run ads, the gold that sits underneath these ads is the data that the platform gives you. Are people clicking on your ad? Are people downloading your lead magnet? And lots of other data points as well. How much video are people watching? There's loads of data. But you want to get that data quite quickly so that you can start to assess where things might need tweaking. So I think the budget is something, and you've got to be prepared, as I mentioned, to spend a bit of money that you might not make back, right? To invest in the testing part.
Yeah. I think not immediately. Like, if someone can trust us now, I'm a case study, so I definitely testify here that after some time, and there's a little bit of a sweating period.
Yeah.
If you've experienced that too, where it feels like you're throwing your money at Facebook. But then if you hang in there, and it's like with anything when you are in business, especially as an entrepreneur, you have to have that, you know, trust in your vision, in this that you are this success story, that you're writing this success story, and that is just helping you along the way, and that essentially it's going to pay off in what form. Like if someone found you thanks to the Facebook ads, and then 6 months later they say, now I'm ready to purchase your $10,000 offer, I mean, then yes, I mean, Facebook ads have paid off. But I know that, of course, it's nicer if you see it much quicker, and a quicker return on investment, which usually is also the case. Like, I'm exaggerating, 6 months. Like, you do a lot of testing, but then on average, maybe that's the final question. On average, when you say $10 a day on a first campaign, then what would you think? And I know it depends on the offer, the ad copy, and all the things that we discussed today. But you have like an average where you say after 3 months, 2 months, 6 months, that they
really again, it depends on
so much.
That's the answer to all of the Facebook ads question is it depends, but it does depend. So I can give you an example. If you just want to promote, if the purpose of your campaign is to get your lead magnet out there, because you are going to grow your email list, and then you've got a process to monetize those leads once they start to come into your world, then you should be able to get an effective, if you understand how to read and interpret the data, because it's fundamentally important that you do that. And that can already, people might be going, oh my God, that sounds so complex. It's not. There are some key KPIs that you need to track. And for when you're running ads to grow your email list with a lead magnet, there are like 3 or 4 data points that we make all of our clients aware of, and the people that are in my membership program understand these as well. Just 3 or 4 data points. So is the click-through rate hitting this KPI? Is the landing page load rate hitting this KPI? And then you can quickly see if there are any bottlenecks, and then you can hone in on those bottlenecks and fix them. So I'm working with a client in one of the launches we talked about right at the beginning at the moment, a lovely lady called Helen, and she helps people to become speakers, get on stage and speak. That's what her forte is. She's incredible at it, and we started running ads for her to promote a 3-day event that she's going to be hosting next week. And after a couple of days, I was looking at the results, and I could see that we got a couple of leads, but they were really high cost. So I could see there was a problem, and I analysed the data, and within a minute, I could see that the ads were performing really well. So we were hitting all of the KPIs. The problem was that the landing page that they were going to was converting at a really low percentage, right? So I looked at that and I thought, well, if we could double the percentage that landing page is converting at, what does that mean? It means that the lead cost will halve, and then it's kind of much more within the goals that we'd set for the cost per lead. Went back to the client, Helen, went back to Helen and explained. She got onto her tech team, and they restructured the landing page and simplified it because it was quite complex. And lo and behold, within a couple of days, the cost per lead was where it needed to be. The landing page was converting much better, and it was happy days. So you can turn these things around really, really quickly. It doesn't have to take months at all. It should really, if you understand how to analyze data and you've got enough of it, you should be able to turn it around in a couple of days. But sometimes you just got to keep testing and tweaking and optimizing. But I want people to understand you don't have to sit there for like weeks and weeks and weeks just trying in vain. You just have to have a well-structured process, and then you should be good.
Yeah, and you just mentioned it. So either people can join you in your membership side, like in your membership, and then learn it and have you then come in and help them, coaching them along the way, or they do it as we did, or we are doing, Kerry and I. We just hire you and your agency so that you run the ads for us, right? So these are the 2 options that people can work with you in case they are ready. And our clients who are watching now, the good news is that we will be doing this again. So we are really, really excited that we have now kicked off this Facebook ads topic, that we are like getting maybe over the first mental hurdles and mindset blocks. And yeah, I'm sure we're going to have something sizzling and exciting for the next session with you, which is going to be in a few weeks of time. But in the meantime, if you want to connect, of course, with Danny and his team, we have all the contact information and they can do so and reach out to you. I'm sure Facebook is a good place to find you, right?
Yeah, well, interestingly, my profile was disabled back at the start of the year for reasons that Facebook have never explained to me. I have no idea why. So between everybody that's on this call, I have set up a new profile. I resisted for a while, but I'm working with a coach who's helped me to do that. So it's brand new. It will be available. The best place to contact me at the moment is just to go to my website, and then you can connect with me through there.
Yeah, and we're more than happy to provide this information to everyone who's interested. And I would say, let's call this a day. And I thank you so much that you took out the time and sharing all your knowledge and expertise with us. It was really fun. I am still like learning a lot, and also am very excited for our clients to test this out.